Welcome everyone to the Eden Incubator webinar. Today is the 25th of June 2021, and this is our second Eden Incubator webinar. We had one last year towards the end of the year. And I'm really very grateful to all of you who have come from different corners of the world, really. Thank you particularly to our colleagues from Afghanistan, who have taken a lot of trouble to be with us today. They have been the bedrock of what will transpire today as well. So I hope the interactions between the two young people who are presenting today and our friends in Afghanistan and our supporters in Japan can all come together wonderfully. The Eden seminars were established in 2018 under the inspiration of the Pugwash seminars, which, as you will recall, were the seminars which Bertrand Russell and Albert Einstein gathered 8 more of their Nobel laureate colleagues to make sure that the horrors of Hiroshima and Nagasaki never happen again. And the Pugwash conference laid the grounds for what is now known as the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaties, and several other such good things that came out of making nuclear power into a tool for peace and not a destructive weapon of war. Anyway, the Pugwash seminars inspired us to create the Eden seminars to see how this peace dividend can be taken even further. And Eden stands for Emerging and Developing Economies Network. Please visit our website to see more of it. The chair is Nasreen Azimi, who has woken up in Los Angeles, I believe, bright and early, too bright and too early maybe, but she's here and she will talk to you later as well. But today I must thank all of you who are attending from Afghanistan, from Tokyo, from Kyushu in Oita, from Akita in Northeast Japan, as well as, of course, from the United States. Now, so thanking all of you, first of all, I would like you also to take note of our gratitude to the Eden partners. We have 3 core Japanese universities and many others across the world, including several in Afghanistan, who have been gracious with their time and their wisdom. In Japan, Shizenkan University, which has hosted the venue for us, the Richmekang Asia Pacific University, and attendees from the Akita International University are also here. And of course, our Afghani colleagues have been gracious enough to establish the grounds for 3 botanical gardens in Bamiyan, Paktia, and Kabul. And those initiatives will also, I think, be a kind of support institution for what you're going to listen to today. But before all of that, we have a fantastic guest, His Excellency, Dr. Shaida Mohammed Abdali, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the Islamic Republic of Afghanistan, who has not been here in Tokyo for too long, but he comes with a star-studded curriculum vitae, and we will put this up on the website. Please have a look at it. Ambassador's experience is just what we need to navigate this incubator project through to fruition. But before I say any more, let me introduce, or not so much introduce, you can look up the website for details, but we would like to hear from Ambassador Abdali, how he perceives what we are planning to do and any message that he might want to share with us. This issue of peace and security is something that is very close to his heart. He has been on the ground and has tremendous experience in navigating the troubled waters that Afghanistan has often had to walk through, has to sail through. And I think for us here, it is a humbling thought that he has agreed to give us so much of his time. It will certainly inspire your colleagues in Afghanistan, Ambassador, and it will also garner a lot of support for you and your country here in Japan. And I really thank you for your commitment to this. So let me, without any further ado, pass you to Ambassador Abdali for a few words to open this event as the guest of honor. Ambassador, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. To some, good evening, and to others, good morning. I'm very pleased to be once again with you today, and Professor Qasim, Dr. Nasreen Azimi, distinguished participants, fellow Afghans, as we also had a meeting, virtual meeting some time back, and we're happy that we're building on that one, and today we are engaging on a very vibrant issue organized by the Eden Seminar and the Unitar University for the wonderful work that our two young Afghan and Japanese who have worked tirelessly to give us an issue that we discussed today, and to turn this into a reality in terms of the output that gives to all of us based on a research. Both of them worked so hard during their last 2 years, I believe, or a year at least, where they were on the core issue of research with regard to particularly pomegranate and the saffron, which is a very important subject in Afghanistan, also in order for Afghanistan to export Afghanistan's products and to look for alternative livelihoods in Afghanistan and go away from some of the illicit crops that in Afghanistan, unfortunately, are being cultivated. So I'm very pleased to be today with you on a very important subject. And let me once again thank the Eden Seminar, the organizers, and the Unitar University for collaborating on our today's discussion and the projects that, of course, in the future we will have out of the deliberations that we have today. And I also thank the Shizenkan University for hosting the Eden 3 seminar in March 2020, focusing on the botanical garden networks in Afghanistan, and for the contribution to our human capital in Afghanistan, providing up-to-date information, the latest information. And today we have one bright example of Mr. Hashimi, who is a graduate of this wonderful program of the university, and the colleagues that have been so supportive of this initiative. As you all know, Afghanistan is a country, the population, close to 70% live in rural areas. So that signifies what the population will be busy with and focused on, and that is agriculture. So it is an agriculture-based economy, basically. And Afghanistan government has taken a number of steps in the last at least 20 years to provide sustainable agriculture development programs. And that includes the distribution of rehabilitated seeds, the construction of irrigation canals, and the launch of training programs for farmers in Afghanistan. The products of agriculture are part of it consumed in Afghanistan out of the program, the initiative that we've had in the last 20 years. And we're trying to export the leftover to outside world. And those include the facilitating of export through transport and a series of air corridors to a number of countries. That includes India in our neighborhood, that includes Turkey, China, Kazakhstan, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and Indonesia. So expanding this air corridor includes a number of other countries that we have in mind. And certainly Japan is on the top list of this new corridor that we are trying to expand to. And of course, this has been a priority since my arrival here in Japan. And we believe, based on our assessment, that Japan could be a very potential market for our Afghan products, bringing from Afghanistan. And we believe that our products, being organic, and could be much cheaper than existing products in the Japanese market. Since my arrival, I have had a number of meetings in this respect, how to expand our trade relationship in Japan. I met the JETRO organization, or the directorate, or the president here. And I also had a very comprehensive discussion with the Chamber of Commerce of Japan recently. And we discussed the possibility of signing a memorandum of understanding between Afghanistan Chamber of Commerce and the Japanese Chamber of Commerce. And we've agreed on this, and we are now pushing the two sides, the Chamber of Commerce of Japan and the Chamber of Commerce of Afghanistan, to share the information that they need. And we've also passed on a draft MOU from Afghanistan to the Chamber of Commerce in Japan. So we've received a very positive signal that they are going to do that in the near future. At the same time, we also work with a number of other organizations, stakeholders, to organize B2B meetings, business-to-business meetings between our two countries. And there are a number of events in the pipeline in a year from now, and also a major exhibition called the Expo 2025 in Japan. And our businesses are already registering themselves in this major expo. We've already specified the designated area for products to be displayed in 2025. So for all that, we've already launched our efforts, including the B2B meetings, the platform to have between our businesses to explore the opportunities in the Japanese market, and to present themselves in a major way in the Expo 2025 from the Afghan side. So I'm very delighted today to see also another effort alongside what we've been doing here in the embassy, to see Mr. Hashimi focus on opening this air corridor, or contributing to the air corridor that we've been talking here in the embassy. And they have concentrated on two very important products. The pomegranates in Afghanistan, which is a particular part of Afghanistan that I come from. And this is something that will go a long way in contributing to our economy, and also to create a new momentum in the Japanese market, and also the saffron. This is a product that we today look at it as an alternative to the illicit crops in Afghanistan, which is poppy. And this has given a very good result in some parts of Afghanistan. Our farmers are very concentrated. So Mr. Hashimi and Ms. Chihiro here have focused on a very fundamental topic, which I'm so glad, and I'm grateful to Shizenkan University and the Aiden Seminar for supporting this idea. And from the Afghan embassy side, I wholeheartedly welcome the idea, and also the contribution to be made in order for these two items to really reach the Japanese market, and I will be fully behind this project. And before I conclude, let me repeat once again and recall our recent meeting, a virtual meeting on the 26th of May, where we discussed the possibility of expanding our collaboration in various areas, including the creation of university-based botanical garden networks in Afghanistan. So I am fully committed to this, and I welcome any idea. And I once again thank you for organizing this meeting today, and I look forward to the views and exchange of ideas today, and to build on this for full operationalization of our activities. Thanks so much.
Thank you ever so much, Ambassador. That was a really inspiring message. We are grateful and hope that you can also engage in the discussions as this meeting evolves. Thank you so much. I think it's time now to go to the meat at the heart of the matter. And the heart of the matter will consist of two presentations. The first will be from Abdul Hamid Hashimi, who has worked tirelessly over the last year or so to bring his ideas to fruition with a very, very realistic bent, I think. And that is so important. It is very easy for us to believe in this modern world that big is beautiful. But what Mr. Hashimi is doing, he's sowing a small seed that has tremendous potential to grow. Of course, it will need water, it will need nutrients. And I think the Eden family is there to support him in this. So without any further ado, I will pass the floor on to Mr. Abdul Hamid Hashimi, our star of tonight. And please welcome him to the stage to present his ideas. Hashimi-san, please go ahead.
Hello, everyone. Thank you all for participating to this event. And thank you for Eden Network for providing this opportunity for us. As you may know, recently I graduated from MBA in Design and Leadership for Societal Innovation from Shizenkan University in Tokyo. And I tried to make a positive impact on Afghanistan's current situation through my research project. And I came up with this project, Air Corridor to Japan. The purpose of this project is to bring peace and stability in Afghanistan through economic development. I had the honor and the privilege to working on this project under the guidance of Professor Monte Qasim, the president of Akita University now, and the president of Shizenkan University when I was a student there. And I want to thank you once again for your great support. So let me share my screen. Sorry. Yeah, this is the project theme, Air Corridor to Japan, and focusing on agriculture as a first step, and launching a project with saffron and pomegranate from Afghanistan to Japan. I will start from Afghanistan's country profile. Afghanistan has about 32.9 million population and very young country in terms of population. About 50% of the population is under 15 years old. Unfortunately, the poverty rate is high and 90% of the people lives with $2 per day. The total import in 2019 was about $7.9 billion, and the total export was about 1.5 billion USD. Currently, Afghanistan is tackling with challenges such as war, insecurity, drugs, high unemployment rate, low education, and poverty. My vision through this project is peace through prosperity, prosperity through trade. And my mission is to expand exports, standardization, quality assurance, increasing of production volume, and value creation. So I said my mission is to expand export. So which product? Afghanistan has a huge amount of natural resources and good place for agriculture as well. I choose agriculture product because 71% of the population is living in the rural areas, and most of them are relying on agriculture. It contribute about 25% to our GDP. It has impact on climate because of the price competitiveness. And also it has a huge impact on people's life in short and mid-term. Dr. Nakamura's project is a good example to show how agriculture can affect people's life in Afghanistan. By making irrigation canals and growing of agriculture, millions of lives has changed in Afghanistan. People returned to their home, agriculture's farm created, people's health improved, and most important, environment improved. You can see the picture, a dry and dusty land changed to a beautiful and green land. So where to export? I choose Japan because Japan is one of the biggest agricultural product importer in the world. Japan has peaceful agenda in Afghanistan and generously supported Afghanistan in the past 20 years. And we have very good relationship with Japan. Because of Shizenkan University, I studied it at Shizenkan. I got a lot of support from Shizenkan professors, my classmates. For example, Chihiro-san, one of my good classmates, would be my business partner in Japan. And luckily, recently, we have Eden Networks support. Eden's activities in Afghanistan, like botanical garden, is aligned with my vision. So we can work together, we can support each other for a peaceful Afghanistan. How to export to Japan? I choose air corridor. Currently, about 6.8 trillion worth of goods sent by air cargo in the world. So Afghanistan also can benefit from air corridors. Why air corridors? The first reason, because Afghanistan is a landlocked country and it's a challenge for Afghanistan. But we have to remember that being landlocked doesn't mean we cannot export. For example, Switzerland is also a landlocked country, but its export in 2020 was more than 300 billion. So Afghanistan can also expand the export. We have more opportunity. We have a strategic location. We have young population. So we can do the same. And also land transportation has its challenges, such as troubled borders, dangers of land transportation, and etc. About the routes, currently we have 3 to 4 options: Afghanistan to Dubai, Dubai to Japan, Afghanistan to Turkey, Turkey to Japan. But currently I choose Afghanistan to India and India to Japan. And it is the shortest route. In long term, we need to establish direct flight from Afghanistan to Japan. About the assistance requirement, currently I need Afghanistan and Japan support to establish air corridor, because I cannot do this. Unfortunately, Excellency Ambassador is fully supporting this idea and already talked with Afghan side and Japan side to establish this air corridor. In long term, we can create an Afghan-Japan agriculture trading platform. Means not to only export to Japan, but to work with Japanese inside Afghanistan and export agriculture product in Japan's quality and standard to other countries as a hub. So we need long time for this, but we can do this in the future. Of course, air corridor is a big context that every Afghan can export to Japan or import from Japan. But currently, we need to start from our own initiatives. So now I'm going to talk about trading entities. Afghan and Japan partners. So in phase one, me and my colleague Chihiro-san, who is also here, will start trade between Afghanistan and Japan. In the phase two, we will focus on production expansion in Afghanistan and market expansion strategy in Japan. Regarding the production expansion in Afghanistan, in phase one, we are focusing on saffron and pomegranate, and in phase two, other agricultural products. And even we can export non-agricultural products in the future. About the market expansion in Japan, in phase one, Argawan company and Peace Trading Company is going to start. And in phase two, our plan is to link above issues with Recruit Group. Recruit is one of the biggest Japanese company. It's a matching platform company. My colleague Chihiro-san is working there, so she will give more information about Recruit in Japan. I plan to name my company Argawan. Sorry, it could be a difficult name for Japanese, but let me tell you why I choose this name. Argawan means purple. And you can see the picture here. This is a picnic place and very close to my hometown, my home in Afghanistan. I have a lot of memory from here. And I want to link my company to this place. And the second reason, the color of this purple trees are similar to saffron, which I will start exporting from saffron. So I link it to this place. My duty in Afghanistan would be to collect the product in Afghanistan, export it to Japan, focus on quality assurance, and to strengthen production in Afghanistan. My business partner in Japan, Peace Trading Company, her duty would be to market research in Japan, branding, product development, sales and distribution. So what to export? Afghanistan, lands in Afghanistan are rich and fertile. So we have different kind of agriculture products, but I choose saffron, which is known red gold, and pomegranate. This is the saffron and pomegranate export in 2019. As you can see to these two graphs, most exports are relying on India and Pakistan, and exports to countries beyond our neighbors are low. And unfortunately, export to Japan is zero. Why I choose the saffron? First, it's a good alternative for opium. The main reason why people cultivate opium in Afghanistan are it needs less water and the price is very high. So saffron will solve both problems. It needs less water and the price is very high. It is the most expensive spice in the world. Women empowerment. Currently, women are highly engaged in cultivating of saffron. Through growing of saffron and exporting to Japan, we can support women in Afghanistan more and more. And the most important, Afghanistan saffron has the highest quality in the world. In the past 17 years, it ranked the best saffron in the world by European Union International Taste Institute in Belgium. This is our business plan for 2022 to 2026. This is a very small project and self-financed. So we will start from 10 kilogram in 2022, and we will increase the saffron to 50 kilogram in 2026. In the right side graph, in 2022, we will have 0.6% of market share in Japan, and it will increase to 2.9% market share in Japan. This is the very details of our business plan. So why I choose pomegranate? It's rooted in our culture. This is symbol of fertility, and this is one of the main fruit of Shab Yalda, which is the longest night of the year. People stay awake all the night together, and they enjoy eating fruits like pomegranate. And people are celebrating this event for thousands of years. Through exporting of pomegranate as a part of Afghanistan's culture to Japan, we will make more more friendship and a strong friendship between Afghanistan and Japan. We have 48 different kind of pomegranate, including seedless pomegranate, which we can export to Japan. Resistant against the weather. Because of the strong cover it has, we can keep it for weeks in normal temperature. So this is easy to export. And also a huge gap in price between Afghanistan and Japan. Again, this is our business plan for pomegranate from 2022 to 2026. And we will start from 4,000 kilogram in 2022, and we will increase it to 20 kilogram in 2026. And in 2022, we will have 0.6% of market share in Japan, and will increase to 3.1% in 2026. This is the very details of cash flow for pomegranate. Now I want to talk about the most important part, social impact of this project. I want to explain of course, this project has a lot of impact for Afghanistan, but I want to talk about from three perspectives. And the blue line focusing on employment, and green line is focusing on addiction to drugs, people who are addicted, and the yellow is focusing on terrorist financial source. In the blue line, when the agricultural export increased, the agricultural crops will increase. And then employment will improve. And most of the people, more people will have chance to work on agriculture. When there is no unemployment, the poverty will reduce, and people will have chance to study, education will improve, and we will reach to prosperity and peace. In the green line, when the drugs cultivation, when the agricultural crops increase, drug cultivation will decrease. So as a result, the addiction to drug in Afghanistan will decrease as well, because people will not find it easily. And as a result, poverty will decrease, and education will improve, and again, we will reach to prosperity and peace. The last but not the least, and the most important one, is terrorist financial source. When the drug cultivation decreased, terrorist group will lose one of their main financial source, and the war will decrease in Afghanistan. When there is no war, we will reach to prosperity and peace. And these three loops are reinforcing loop. Expected obstacles. Of course, we have a lot of challenges on this project. Security, uncertainty, and production, quality, and quality control, and the time of export. Lack of branding and poor packing, and of course, market in Japan. But there are a lot of optimism on this project. A survey happened in 2021 very recently. The surveyors was a Yamanashi University student, and the surveyed was a high school student. Number of surveyed was 309 persons. And the area was Yamanashi and Tochigi prefecture. One of the questions was, how does Afghanistan's product make you feel? 38% said they're likely to buy Afghanistan product. 48% of them said neither not likely to buy nor likely to buy. And 14% of them said they are less likely to buy Afghanistan's product. So majority of them are likely to buy Afghanistan's product, and this is a good news for this project. Other optimism, competitive advantage. The products in Afghanistan has high quality, it's organic, and it is cheap. Water management resources in Afghanistan. Recently, the government of Afghanistan is highly focusing on managing of our water. Most of the people will think Afghanistan don't have water, but actually there are enough water in Afghanistan. The problem is through the long conflict in Afghanistan, we were not able to manage our water. Recently, the government is managing the water, and it is good news for agriculture sector. And government support. Now, the government of Afghanistan is highly support trade. Even they pay, for example, transportation costs or this kind of support. So these are optimism. Conclusion, currently there is a war, drug, poverty, terrorist group, unemployment, low education in Afghanistan. These things made me to launch this project, Air Corridor, and to export saffron and pomegranate from Afghanistan to Japan. The outcome of this project would be increasing of employment, reducing of drugs, terrorists will lose their financial source, security will improve, farmers' income will increase, and the education will improve in Afghanistan. And the impact is prosperity and peace. This project is highly contribute SDGs goal, and it is almost equal to SDGs goal. Now, my colleague, Chihiro-san, will present Air Corridor from Afghanistan from the perspective of Japanese partner. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hashimi-san. I think that has laid the ground to show us how this relational capital among young people from two distant nations can bring the world closer to each other. And we will look at the other half of this partnership from now. Ms. Chihiro Eikyu, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Kashim-sensei. So today I will present from the Afghanistan embassy. So my background is really gorgeous. Yeah. Let's start my parts. Air corridor from Afghanistan from the perspective of the Japanese business partner. So today's summary, background and the purpose and the business development, how to create market in Japan and outcomes. This is mainly 4 parts today. So I'd like to quickly share myself. My roots grew up with a grandmother who experienced World War II, and she always said to me, world peace is the most important thing. Career at Recruit, which is currently I work. 16 years working experience as an alliance marketing and sales expert, and launched new businesses for multiple IT media services. And I got 2 times winner of the Company Worldwide Business Award, selected from the 50,000 people. And the Shizenkan MBA. Through my learning from the Shizenkan, contributing to the world and create sustainable and inclusive world is most important thing. And I I want to try to this part and sympathize with Hashimi's vision. We are the classmate of Shizenkan MBA, and I totally sympathize with Hashimi's vision. That's why this time I'd like to try air corridor business from Afghanistan with Hashimi. So I'd like to share my purpose, realizing world peace, and the vision is peace through prosperity, prosperity through trade. Our mission is to transform Afghanistan's agriculture to provide jobs, foreign exchange, and help to peace, prosperity. So strategy is air corridor, gain access to Japanese market. And our value is respect local. Culture create halal income. And the brand, quality, how Afghanistan product to just standard. Let's share business development and division of responsibilities. Establish personal companies to collaborate on this project and take the initial risk and proof of concept at the first. Division of responsibilities. Hashimi in Afghanistan, production and establish point of export and air corridor from Japan. And me built on my new business development experience to import Afghan products, conduct market research, product development, and sales and distribution. Business development. Which product we trade? As Hashimi said, we are start from saffron, and next we are planning to trade pomegranate. And after that, we are thinking dry fruits, precious stones, and minerals, and precious metals. Afghanistan has a lot of great natural resources. And our sales strategy, saffron as a luxury product. Why we sell saffron as a luxury product? Because we are focused on early business realization. We can start by importing small amounts because security is assured. And the saffron as a food has many competitors in Japan. Afghanistan saffron is a brand which is the best saffron in the world. And the benefits of saffron will be received by the Japanese market, which likes product of the highest quality. That's why we choose the saffron as our first product to trade. For example, we are thinking to saffron tea, saffron skincare, saffron for luxury soap. And how to sell? Our first stage, we will sell via online. And the second, try to sell at the high-end shops like a department store. And we are thinking saffron as a food is our second phase because there are a lot of competitors in Japan. And how to sell is first online store, retailer, second is retailer, and the third step, we are thinking to directly sell restaurants, like SMEs restaurants. So when we sell to restaurants at the expansion phase, the collaboration with Recruit is effective. This is also essential for Recruit to update their existing business model. I will briefly introduce Recruit and explain why collaboration with Recruit is beneficial for both of us and during the expansion phase air corridor project. What's Recruit Holdings? Recruit is founded in 1960 and our market cap is 24.24 billion US dollar. ranked 7th in Japan stock market index. And our biggest competitor in Japan is Rakuten, but Rakuten is 87th ranked, and we are bigger in competition to Rakuten. Strengths of Recruit. We provide media and business support applications, and our original business model is a ribbon model. We connect user and company via matching platform, and we have more than 2 million companies, including SMBs. But we also have a challenge. We need to update the ribbon model to be socially aligned and sustainable while leveraging the strengths of more than 2 million companies of client contacts. So I think the key challenge of Recruit is how can we create a business that is socially aligned, sustainable, and inclusive. My MBA project proposed model of transforming Recruit to be a champion of sustainability, because I think it is the most important theme of Recruit from now on. And the action plan which I propose to Recruit is exactly the content of the collaboration with the Air Corridor project. So I would like to introduce it here. This is the action plan I propose to Recruit. As a platformer, develop business in each business field to support other companies, mainly SMBs, in contributing to a sustainable society. So we believe that we will be able to sell our Afghan products through Recruit platform to 420,000 SMEs. It's really beneficial for us. And this is important initiative, not only for us, but also for Recruit. As a Recruit can update the ribbon model to a sustainable and inclusive model. Expected outcomes. Benefits for each stakeholders. For SMEs in Japan, acquire good quality product from Afghanistan. And it's a low cost because there are few middle suppliers. And it is also good benefits for social in Japan. Customers in Japan can get good quality products and contribute to a sustainable world without any burden. And this is also good for Afghanistan society. We want to create culture, create halal income, and create jobs. And it's also have a benefit for Recruit. We can create a new business and revenue model by matching SMEs and producers. And also existing ribbon model can be updated to contribute to a sustainable and inclusive world. And this is also sustainable and inclusive outcomes. Many women can get higher income. Through agriculture and trade, people can get jobs and foods. Agriculture and the partnership of trade create peace and equality between nations. Peace through prosperity, prosperity through trade. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chihiro-san. I think we've now finished the two presentations, and we are about to enter into the discussion and to see how this relational capital that has been brought to link Japan and Afghanistan can really flower to become a kind of an air corridor that really transforms the current situation in Afghanistan to one of long-term peace and prosperity. I pass the floor to Dr. Nasreen Azimi. She's the chair of Eden Seminars, the inspirational founder behind in seminars, and the inspirational mother of all of us who gathered around her. She nurtures us, admonishes us, and inspires us. So over to you, Nasreen. You have a long relationship with Afghanistan and have truly contributed to the human capital in Afghanistan in the work that you've done through UNITA and in your private capacity in Japan as well. I think both countries are indebted to you for your dedication. And I think you're the best person to guide this discussion through to the next step. Please go ahead, Nasreen.
Thank you, Monty, and thank you, Dr. Abdali, for arranging and committing to this session. My greatest thanks goes to Hashimi-san and Chihiro-san, because I have to say we have learned so much from the two of you over the past few weeks. We've had a number of meetings and brainstormings amongst ourselves, with you directly. We have been thinking and talking about Afghanistan's products, Afghanistan's natural wealth, the Botanical Gardens networks, but you have pushed us to go that one step further as to how can this affect the lives and livelihoods of the 90% of Afghans that, as you correctly mentioned, still live on $2 a day. My inspiration for the last few decades has been Dr. Nakamura, but also many, many young people like yourselves, because without you being there to tell us that there is other possibilities that can open up for Afghanistan, maybe we would all become either bitter or resign or feel hopeless sometimes. But I think you have really opened, at least for me, the past few weeks have been wonderful, because you have opened whole new perspectives. People forget that Afghanistan is a country almost the size of France, even though it does have a increasing and speedily increasing population. It's still a vast country. It has a diversity of ecosystems almost unmatched. I spent many decades in Switzerland. I can say Afghanistan is even more diverse and by far bigger than Switzerland. It goes from hundreds of meters of altitude to peaks of 8,000 meters, a diversity of resources, products, possibilities that remain untapped for all the reasons we know. And I think more importantly, it is a culture and civilization. Good decades, bad decades, good centuries, bad centuries. Afghanistan as a culture has continued for a few thousand years. I think that alone should give us a bigger perspective. So I'm very happy because with the Botanical Gardens Network project, we are really in a, I always say, we are in a 1,000-year perspective. We have to build for a very long perspective. But with your project, we are now pushed to be in reality. And to start with that reality, I'm very happy that you have yet another classmate from Shizenkan University who has been in the Qasim seminar. I think all of us now, having listened to you, would like to attend the Qasim seminar. I would like to apply for the same MBA program at Shizenkan if I can. But I think Ikeda-san will bring another perspective to this discussion, which is so important, because we have always said, if we don't make our financial institutions committed to sustainability, we are not talking seriously. And Ikeda-san comes from the financial sector, so he brings a perspective that we absolutely need, and he brings solutions that we need. He has been as an investment banker for almost 17 years, and currently he works for Mitsubishi UFJ Morgan Stanley Securities, but in a very particular sector of sustainable finance, and in particular focusing on renewable energy plants in Japan. So he is the right man to enter this conversation as a discussant. I would like to ask everyone else, in view of time and time difference, if you could, in the meanwhile, enter your questions in the chat box so that after Ikeda-san's commentary, we can quickly go over the questions and try and have Hashimi-san and Chihiro-san address as many of them as possible. So Ikeda-san, you have the floor. Thank you for being there. And I'm very curious to hear from the financial brain of this trio. Over to you.
Yes, thank you very much for your great introduction, and thank you very much, Hashimi and Chihiro, your great presentation. Let me explain from the financial perspective for Hashimi's project. And Hashimi, please share your screen again, focusing on the first product, saffron, and saffron graph for 5 years strategy. Yes. Yes, I feel the strategy is so ambitious. In the far, yes, in 2020, the sales is around 7 million yen. No, graph, yes, 7 million yen. And in 2026, you aim to 37 million yen sales in Japan, and you will gain the 22.9% share in Japan. Yes, it's so ambitious. And as Chihiro mentioned, that the saffron has a good brand image, and you, Chihiro and Hashimi, have a plan to introduce Japanese market to broaden the saffron. Yes, it's so interesting. I believe you can do it. However, to begin the sales in Japan in 2022, please begin funding money from us. For example, as investment banker, we have function to fund money as the impact finance. Because your project has so huge impact in Afghan, so you can fund money from the impact investors. I will support you. Also, Chihiro, the Recruit is one of the great company in Japan, which have the great network in Japanese restaurant market. So please collaborate with Recruit to broaden your market. That's the brief advice to you, and please continue to discuss to broaden your project. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ikeda-san, for your usual precision. We are collecting the questions, so let me start with the first question to Chihiro-san and Hashimi-san. And Ikeda-san, don't hesitate to step in if you need to. So the question is from Professor Rahimian in Beppu. What is the average yield of saffron per hectare in Afghanistan and average farmer population per hectare? And also, I think that's a really important question. Do you have a sense of the level of willingness to actually switch from opium to saffron production? Hashimi-Jan, and then maybe Chihiro-san.
Yeah, thank you so much. Let me thank Tomo-san, my great friend and classmate. So at the beginning, I tried to unmute myself. Somehow I couldn't. So thank you so much for great comments and your support. Yeah, let me, sorry. Yeah, actually, regarding how many people are working on a hectare of saffron, it's about 20% per hectare. And yeah, of course, people would like to switch cultivating saffron rather than opium. Opium is an illegal product, and they will face to a lot of challenges because the government will destroy, and it's an illegal. So all of them is willing to have some legal product. So recent years, the cultivation of saffron is increasing, and it's a good alternative for opium. Yeah.
Okay, Chihiro-san, do you have any comments on that? Chihiro, over to you.
Yeah. So, can I answer another question?
Of course. So let me, because I'm looking also at time, so I want to be careful about time. So we currently have at least 4 questions pending. The first one regarding the impact, and maybe Hashimi-jan can guide us on that, the impact of COVID-19 on farmers that you are working with in Afghanistan. How is the long-term effect? From our colleague and team leader in Paktia University, Mr. Najib Ahmadzai, focusing on high price and low weight of products from Afghanistan will be key. In that sense, would pomegranates not be a challenge, especially if you're looking into an air corridor arrangement? And from Brennar Noledo, the impression of how wonderful, and actually for all of us, the mixing of very different profiles, thanks to the Shizenkan University MBA. I'm sure Cody Marschalk will be very happy because he is very keen to recruit good students for the MBA program. And the question there is, have you already found recipients for the Afghan products and the saffron in Afghanistan? And equally, Chihiro-san, cosmetics. We ladies are all interested. Have you found outlets for using the products of Afghanistan in the health and cosmetics sector? From Dr. Shams at UNITAR, he wanted to know the revenue and sustainability model. I will stop here and make a pause. So first maybe Hashimi-jan, then Chihiro-san, and then we can pick up the other questions. Hashimi-jan, over to you.
Yeah, should I answer some questions here, right? Yeah,
yes,
about the Kumagayushi Takasan, he said that why the survey conducted with the high school student. Actually, the Yamanashi University did this survey, and the professor who was leading the group is my friend. So I also was in contact with him regarding my project. So he shared with me this survey. And I think a high school student, maybe they're not much mature for this survey, but I think it's also very important because they are young and young generation. So luckily they likely to buy, and they have interest for Afghanistan's product. Yeah. Yeah, about the demand in Japan, Shamsan, Yeah, I think currently the saffron is, it's one of the challenge. There is no a lot of saffron in Japan. So, but I think it's not because Japanese don't like it. It's maybe because there is not too much supply and maybe people don't know much about. But I'm sure saffron is a good product for Japan in food because Japan is a country that there are different kind of food delicious, so they can use it cosmetics and luxury. So I think it has market here. Yeah. Yeah, I think if Chihiro-san want to.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for many questions. I pick some, and the first is from Najev about the pack. So we are thinking to pack in Japan because it's more cost effective to trade, and I have a good designer friend who made a design about the package. So now we are planning to pack in Japan. And the next one is about the talk with Japanese cosmetic company. So now I'm thinking how to create our own cosmetics. And I think now in Japan, there are a lot of OEM companies who create cosmetics. And it becomes easy to us to make own product. So I think I don't need to use traditional cosmetic company in Japan, but we use some OEM company in Japan to make the cosmetics. That too, I pick now, yeah. So back to Azumi-san.
Thank you. There was also a question regarding the impact of COVID on farmers. Hashimi-jan, if you can comment on that. And also the productivity, the rate of productivity for saffron, how easy it is to proceed. Could you please comment on that?
Undoubtedly, the COVID-19 affected all the world and each sector, including agriculture. Of course, there's a problem, but we hope that the COVID-19 challenges will solve soon. And I think this is not something we hope at least to don't have like long impact on agriculture. So I'm optimism in this case. About the sorry, could you repeat the second?
There was a question in the beginning regarding per hectare, whether it's competitive with other countries, what is the production per hectare? And also, it is my own question, how do you identify your network of farmers? Is there some sort of cooperation, or is this a sort of community association? How would you bring the farmers together? Because it relates to the last question I also have on the list, because there are in the audience other groups who would like to import Afghan products, for example, in this case, honey. How does one go about organizing and structuring? And maybe this is a question for Dr. Abdullah and the Afghan embassy, a wider question as to if there are more greater interest in Japan for Afghan products. Is there a way one can work with a community of farmers? How do you go about organizing the farmers? Over to you, Hashimi-jan and Chihiro.
I'm in Japan right now, so I didn't have any face-to-face communication with farmers in Afghanistan yet. But I had a phone discussion through phone with farmers who produce saffron and pomegranate. I asked their challenges and weakness point and what they need for their production. So I think there is potential to export these two products and to Japan. So currently, the Afghanistan saffron has a market in Europe and across the world. And same pomegranate, there are companies in the UK, for example, they have contract and they make juice from pomegranate. So when I return to Afghanistan, of course, I will directly talk with farmers in Afghanistan, their challenges, and to start this business.
One of the comments is, what are the prospects of using crowdfunding to expand the investment into your initiative? Do either of you have any comments on that?
Yes, let me explain the strategy to fund money for advice to Hashimi and Chihiro. Yes.
Thank you.
Firstly, you do not always need crowdfunding from many people. We have the good network at Shizenkan, Shizenkan network and alumni network and agent network. So please share this type of presentation and make the funding strategy. Of course, many of us can support you from finance perspective. I believe this is the last stage of the thinking project. Let's go to the doing stage to proceed your project. That's a funding advice for you.
That's very encouraging. Do you have any comments on that sort of very generous gesture of support? Chihiro and Hashimi? Build on your networks, use the relational capital to actually translate it into financial capital.
Yeah, you're Chihiro-san?
No, you go first.
Thank you so much once again, Tomo, for your support. And we also, I'm very happy that most of my classmates and Japanese are, they want to support Afghanistan. And I received a lot of comments, and all of them is asking me, you need support, let us know. For example, in design, in business, in finance, in business plan, in any section. So yeah, so we are lucky, and thank you again, Tomo.
There is another very astute observation from one of Nasreen's proteges from the Afghan Fellowship Leaders Project, Mr. Sukut, Sahabuddin Sukut, has asked us, he says, in Herat province, we have a saffron association, and they are easily accessible for any requests or issues that you might have. Any response to that, possibly Hashimi?
Yeah, as you know, Professor, I shared with you that my plan is to export saffron from Herat province, which is this best saffron, and also to export pomegranate from Kandahar city, which is known the pomegranate city of Afghanistan. So of course, I choose saffron from Herat to export, and I already talked with some, and so yeah.
One of the questions from Najib Ahmadzai from the Botanical Gardens Network initiative is that we have associations of farmers and have wholesale markets to buy from. And you can also go to the CDCs. I don't know what the CDCs are. Maybe you know what they are, to access local people to buy from. Is that acceptable to you as a piece of advice? Nasreen, are you back with us or are you still frozen? No, she's frozen. Go ahead, Hashim.
Thank you so much, Mr. Najib Ahmadzai. I think this is another opportunity for us. So, of course, we will contact you later and we'll ask how we can work and how we can collaborate. Yeah, thank you so much.
So there is another comment from Sahabuddin Sukut, Mr. Sahabuddin Sukut. To add to the statement that you said, COVID has badly affected production in Afghanistan and its business with other countries. And recently, Afghan saffron business is pending with some European countries due to the COVID issue. That's the source has been Tolo News. What I am not clear about, and perhaps Mr. Sukut will tell us a little more, I do not know why exactly Europe has suspended the imports of saffron because of COVID. I mean, from a medical point of view or a virology point of view, I don't see the relationship. But it could be that the production capacity was affected and the commitments to export may not have been met. And there may have been a contractual violation due to COVID-19. I don't know. But perhaps, Mr. Sukut, if you could elaborate a little more on your question, it might make it easier to answer it.
Yes. Thank you, Professor. And Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for giving me a chance to talk. Yes, this is one of the worst issue has happened just 2 weeks ago because the travels has been, have been stopped due to COVID. So it has badly affected our exports. And because, as Hashimi mentioned, saffron is one of the good product of Afghanistan recently, in recent years. So for this reason, some of the European countries like Italy, Spain, and some other countries who are importing saffron, they just stopped because of COVID. So they are still waiting for the situation to change because, when there is no travels, when there is no flights, when there is no any kind of transits, trips to Europe, so of course, everything would be stopped. So it has badly affected the cost of saffron inside Afghanistan as well, but it is for a short time because still they have been committed to continue importing saffron from Afghanistan due to its quality, and it needs, of course, a little bit time to restart the processes to import. This is one of the reasons. Over to you, Professor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sukut. That explains it very clearly. I think Ambassador Abdullah might make a comment. I think it is also important when we build the air corridor to Japan to make sure that there is more resilience. Because you see, if semiconductors don't come, Japanese cars can't be made because they are now very intelligent cars. But the freight routes and the logistic routes can be maintained if we put our minds to it. So maybe in the air corridor with Japan, instead of finding excuses as to why we can't do it, let us find ways as to how we can do it. And maybe, Ambassador, in your dialogue with JETRO and others, this aspect of resilience, which is particularly important to vulnerable countries like Afghanistan, is, I think, an important aspect of the negotiation. So perhaps you might have some comment on this.
Well, you see, when I mentioned earlier that I engaged since my arrival on developing a system that will provide the sustainability, not an ad hoc activity of such a business. The sustainability part from my side was addressed by my discussion with JETRO and the Chamber of Commerce of Japan, that we enter into a regular exchange through having the Chamber of Commerce of Japan and Afghanistan sign a memorandum of understanding. That would mean that we will have a system in place. It's not an issue of the individuals, companies to do business. There's a need for a system behind these individuals. So the Chamber of Commerce of Afghanistan, let's say, will need to support Mr. Hashimi there with regard to the information that he needs to convey to the businesses in Japan, and also the Chamber of Commerce in Japan to support Ms. Chihiro in Japan here with regard to the information that she needs with regard to the marketing in Japan. So that would mean that the two of them will need to register themselves in the Chamber of Commerce of the two countries. So that will be the umbrella for the two business, from Afghanistan and Japan. So my effort right now is concentrating on providing a sustainable channel of business, which can only be possible through tying up the two Chamber of Commerce. And then they will be pushing our businesses, including facilitating the market at both ends through B2B meetings, through exhibitions, where they will be invited to come and present their products. So, so I'll do my best to have that sustainable network to start with the two items that they have rightly focused on, the pomegranates and saffron, and as they also predicted, can be expanded to other products in the future. So hopefully in the near future, we will have the two Chamber of Commerce of Afghanistan and Japan come to a conclusion on their cooperation, and then through that system, they will be engaging themselves while connecting farmers in Afghanistan, and also conveying the message through their channel, which of course, as you know, has their own website network of businesses all over the world, basically in this case concentrating Japan markets. So the sustainability part is crucial. And here we can also have, with regard to farmers, to educate them in Afghanistan. I think JICA is well positioned in this case to do training programs in Afghanistan, as they do in other sectors, like they did in rice, for example, crops in Afghanistan. Why not concentrate them now on saffron and pomegranates, and to train Afghan farmers in say the demand quality here, the processing, the packaging part, and also to have particular branches like they predicted. I hope they will find a focal point in Herat for saffron and one focal point in Kandahar for pomegranates. So that the exchange of information and the flow of information is such that will make the farmers ready and meet the demands of market in Japan particularly. So I'm on this sustainability part, and I'll hopefully get to the point where the two Chamber of Commerce will be behind the two individuals, one in Japan and one in Afghanistan.
Thank you, Ambassador. That is heartening, and I think for Mr. Sukut's concern too, this brings new hope and the possibility of new markets that will add to the resilience of Afghanistan's trade in difficult times. Thank you so much. I think you answered partly another question that someone had asked while you explained this. There is an Afghani former student who's in Japan now, who wants to expand the trade in honey between the two countries. Now, once this system that you have mentioned gets going, I think there is every opportunity for all these great ideas to bring the two countries close together through trade, and realize Hashimi's dream of peace through prosperity and prosperity through trade. Nasreen, I noticed he's back because the head is moving once again. So Nasreen, maybe you have a few words to say, and then we go to the final round of wrapping up the session. Go ahead, Nasreen.
Thank you, and my apologies to everyone. California is obviously very slow waking up, as we all know. So I will follow the questions that I missed. I think there were a lot of questions, but I'm sure Kodi will summarize, and we will, if some of the questions have not been addressed, we will definitely follow up on those with the participants. Looking at time, I know I have to wrap up, but I just want to remind everyone, those who are questioning whether saffron will ever be accepted in Japan, I invite you to have my mother's saffron rice, because as you know, Iran is also competing with Afghanistan to have the world's best saffron. And I have to say that often the victory does go to Afghan saffron. So I hope this will continue. And a whole really treasure trove of dried fruits. Chihiro-san and Hashimi-san mentioned in the beginning, but saffron and pomegranate are only the tip of the iceberg. We buy dried fruit and dried nuts in Japan at costs that are phenomenal. Here in California, if you go to the organic markets, it is unbelievable how expensive they can be sold, and it is unbelievable how little Afghan farmers and entrepreneurs benefit from that. So I once did send to Sukutjan and Ahmad Zaijan and our other team members in the Botanical Garden Network a tiny pack, a tiniest pack. I think it was 50 grams of dried Afghan apricots, and it was sold for 500 yen in a Japanese health shop. So the market is huge, it's sustainable, it has potential. So I know that we have only brushed the surface of this, but this is really a rallying call of getting all of us together on the same page. And I thank again Monty for this seminar. I thank again all my Eden and AFLP network and the teams in Paktia, Bamiyan, and Kabul who are now working to create their botanical gardens, and especially Hashimi-san, Chihiro-san, and Ikeda-san for your inspiration, and Ambassador Abdali, thank you for, you've hit the ground running. I cannot say how grateful we are, and I look forward to our future brainstorming as well. Over to you, Monty-jan, and again, my apologies.
Thank you, Nasreen. I think you came back very well. You've learned to land on your feet in your many years in the UN, I guess. Thank you so much for coming back again. I think in the wrap-up, there are some elements which are unique to this Eden seminar that we had today. One thing that I noticed is, I mean, I've been 28 years in academia full-time, and I noticed that there is a difference between the academic mind and the business mind. An academic mind wants to know what is the productivity per hectare, is there enough water, all of these things. I'm going to share with you a small story about a security camera manufacturer in Japan who is now one of the biggest importers of royal jelly from Thailand. I asked him why this move from high quality security cameras to royal jelly. He said, I noticed that the bees in Japan work much less than the bees in Thailand because there is no winter. So I can import more royal jelly from Thailand because the bees work harder. Now, this is not a mindset of the academic. This is a mindset of an entrepreneur who sees things. And I sense that Chihiro is one such person. So I think, Hashimi, you are very fortunate in having Chihiro as a partner, and also having a backup supporter in Tomo Ikeda. Not every investment banker says what he said. And you have to treasure these new generation of investors. They are the investors with a heart. They are the investors who will drive the world towards a sustainable future. So I think we must thank Shizenkan University for having brought these three people together. And we hope that Afghanistan and the rest of the world will benefit by showing that troubled times don't necessarily have to lead to troubled solutions. And this, I think, is the biggest message we have today. The other thing that struck me was that I think all of us came for different reasons. And to be frank, as Hashimi's advisor, and also having worked with defusing terrorism in Sri Lanka for many years, Afghanistan was the other country that Japan was involved in more or less at the same time. So I had many interactions with colleagues who worked in Afghanistan. And what I remember from those times was that you just have to keep at it with hope. You can't lose hope. And academics are not trained to have hope. They are trained to be critical, they're trained to be cynics, they're trained to be judges of other people, but they are not trained to always provide hope. So I think this societal innovation aspect is very important. And that also is one of the pillars of Shizenkan. And I'm glad that that came out today. And capital does not only have to be financial capital, it can be relational capital. We have 3 young people who have probably accrued much more capital than we could ever do with writing proposals to banks. So this, I think, is the way of the future. It's the way young people work and think. This is the way Greta Thunberg's dreams can be made into reality. And I think the 3 of you have shown that it is possible. And finally, I think for Eden, this incubator experiment is great because incubators don't stop at just incubation. They go on to become great things. And I think this has the seeds of it, and it will need all the support it can, both within Afghanistan, on the Japanese side, and with this platform that the ambassador has been so astute in creating. So I think, for me at least, I must say that I did actively engage with Hashimi's project, partly out of a sense of guilt, living in this comfortable environment in Japan, and not quite understanding the difficulties on the ground, which he was very quick to portray to us so vividly. So I would just like to conclude by saying I came for the guilt, but I'm staying for the joy. And I think that is the message that came out today. Thank you, everyone, for your time today.